Hey guys, I'm here for another installment of How to Do Podcasting in the Classroom. I'm Kimberly Barrett at KimmyB96, and I just wanted to talk today a little bit more about the steps that we've been taking in my school for implementing a student podcast. If you notice I'm outside, it's because, oh my goodness, the weather has just taken off. It is beautiful here, and we have just had a long, drawn-out winter. A lot of the yucky stuff happened this past winter. So we are just really ready for pretty weather, and the kids have been really excited this week. It's been a wonderful week at school. And so right now what I wanted to do is just touch base a little bit more about how we have taken the steps to do a podcast in our school. Now, remember, we are not pros at this. I'm a teacher who is just kind of teaching herself and learning the ropes. And my students are definitely doing the same. But one thing I know for certain is they are hungry and they're excited about it. Now, I do work in a personalized learning academy, which is a different atmosphere, and so we do have some flexibility to do these things, and I wanted to just make that clear here. And then the way that I get content in is I make sure that the kids know how to write. So we talk about the process of writing a podcast. We talk about engaging whoever our audience is, and we've been able to do a lot of neat things as a result of our podcast adventure. It is really quite fun. So I talked last time about some of the equipment. I showed you some mics, and we talked about getting student involvement and next steps. And so this time of year is really fun anyway, because we're looking forward to next season, and we're thinking about, oh wow, what are we going to do here and explore next year? And I was able to pull a group of kids who want to be on my team. And that's exciting because they're like, I want to be on the team. I want to be on the team. And so I have a group of kids who have signed up to be on our media team for Explore. And it's really fun because as the writing teacher, I get to play around with stuff like this. I don't know why everyone didn't go into language arts. I mean, I still teach grammar, and I still teach the proper methodology for writing. However, I get to do it in such unique 21st century ways. And so that is always a fun thing to consider, especially if you're a language arts teacher. How can I stay true to my craft or my field in this 21st century world? Well, I mean, now is the best time because kids are excited about it. And I just try to capitalize on that. One of the first things that I've done, or I did this week, and I think it was probably my best week yet with podcasting, is the kids started like just really speaking and talking up the podcast. I have a dog, and she has decided to join us. So this is my baby Blue. Come here, Blue. Say hi. She is excited and enjoying this weather as well. She's a big ham. Anyway, we this week I had a team. We met, and they just took it over. And that is the only way I can describe it is once you have your systems in place and you do modeling for kids. And I talked and touched a little bit about modeling last time, but I want to just reiterate the importance of it. And I've spent quite a bit of time modeling for the kids. And I know my colleagues thought, well, she's just crazy. She just is wanting to just do her own podcast. I absolutely don't. As a matter of fact, I'm doing these videos, but eventually I'm hoping it's going to be the kids doing these. I don't like myself on video. I don't like to be in pictures, and anybody that knows me, I hope knows that. If they don't know me. And I definitely don't like to sit around and do podcasts. It's fun for me to be behind the scenes with the podcast. I like the guts of it, but I don't particularly like to hear my voice. You'll have to get over your voice though, and I'm learning that. So I modeled, and as I modeled and got some of my colleagues on board with that, the kids began to see how it was going to take shape. And then I suggested that they begin to look into their favorite podcasts. So for example, we're in Kentucky, and I have kids who love the University of Kentucky. So do I. I also love Murray State University. That's my alma mater. Shout out to the Racers. And so it was easy for me to get kids on board because they listened to Matt Jones, who, if any of you are from Kentucky know and listen to him, he is at KSR, Kentucky Sports Radio. And the kids just took that on. They began to listen to podcasts this week, and they began to build their own brand again because it's a new group. And that was new, and I didn't expect that. But they didn't want the old. They didn't want what we had created before. They wanted to create their own. So a few things that I have done to help. Number one, we revamped, or we looked back over the our podcast, just our brainstorm. We have a pre-write that we use before every podcast, and so we looked back over it as a team. And they talked about stuff they liked on it, stuff they didn't like on it, and then we took some things out, added some stuff, made it a lot more simplistic, and I really was impressed with their work ethic. There was a team of 7 students that worked with me on that, and they wanted to have a working lunch. And so it wasn't really taking me from the classroom or them from the classroom. We did it during our lunch period. And I think that's good for my colleagues. I think that sometimes, we get so involved in these activities. I want to make sure that they know, and the kids know, that this is a part of their day that we can easily fit in. So we did it during a working lunch. And then they were going home and doing the homework. Now, I have had a busy week myself because I've had to behind the scenes practice with GarageBand some more. I did some tutorials, and I have, if you are on my Lost Conversation page and looking, you will see that I have a folder for podcasting. And in that, I just have all of the different resources that I've been using along the way. And I'm telling you, I have found some wonderful stuff, gold mine out there. But I love that teachers and educators like to share so much out there, and not even educators, just people want to share, and it's fun to do that. Again, we're not trying to get paid here or make any money. Most educators are not when they're on here. I mean, I'm sure there's some that are, but I'm not going to put the time into it. I like my job teaching. But for those people out there that need more, by all means, go to these sites. You can see what I've looked at. I don't mind sharing that at all. And so then after we met and we worked at and looked at our different, our script, because you know how I feel about scripting, but the way that we want our podcast to play out. Then we got to thinking about, what do we want our lead in to sound like? Do we want music along the way? Now, we have something, you can't use this, by the way, but we have something called the Nerdy 30. And it was just something that we came up with, and the kids still like it. I suggested we change it around. They don't really want to change it around. They like it as is. So we're keeping that Nerdy 30. And that has been quite fun. And so we just did some of our did some more stuff for our branding this week, and then got more kids on board. And then I spent the time, I have another dog. We love dogs. This is my baby. This is Roxy. I love both children, Roxy and Blue. I guess probably the best part of this week, though, was, and I did have a moment, and I didn't mean to do this, but I had the first time a day where they came to me and they said, "Can we have your laptop to do our podcast?" And I said, "You know what? I think you can. I think you got this." And this group of kids took my laptop into another room, and they did the podcast alone. I wasn't there. I had zero input. They ran it. They opened up GarageBand. We had spent that one working lunch together. I did the podcast then with them. This was Monday we talked about it. Tuesday was our working lunch. And Wednesday I did a podcast with them. I modeled, because I talked to you about modeling. And on Thursday, they said, "We got this thing." They took my computer, which for some of us, it's very scary because this is like my lifeline. I don't have a set classroom. So it's like, this is my only classroom, is my computer. And there they went. And it was amazing. And when they came back and did the playback for me, I just stood there, and I really was in awe, and I cried. And I know that sounds really cheesy, but for a teacher, that's completion. When you see that your children have taken what you model for them and owned it, made it their own, and went above and beyond. And so I can promise you, if you will just give this a shot and give them ownership and help them with the planning, help them do the planning themselves, they will own it. I'm going to include that podcast here for you, so I want you to hear it. It was great, and I'm proud of them. And I hope that you try podcasting. I have one more episode to give you some hints, and then I don't know what the kids have in store for me, but I'm game always. See you soon. Thanks.